Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, another day and another interesting problem. And this problem is 207 course schedule. So what this problem states essentially is that given a list of courses with its prerequisites, you have to find out whether a person can finish all the courses or not. So for an example, this guy says that to take course 1, the prerequisite is 0. So you can take 0, that's fine, right? So you can finish both 0 and 1 course. But on the contrary, let's look at this example where it says 1, 0, meaning to take 1, 0 is a prerequisite, and 0, 1, meaning to take 0, 1 is a prerequisite. So it's kind of deadlock, and you can't finish all the courses. So basically, this is a cycle finding graph problem. And so if there is a cycle, then you can't take all the courses. So essentially, that's it. So if you have done any graph problems, basically you have to convert this sort of things like this in a dictionary form. So let's go to whiteboard real quick. Okay, so I already have this example written out. So for example, you are given 1001, then essentially you have to create a dictionary, meaning to take 1, 0 is a prerequisite, and to take, right, and to take 0, 1 is a prerequisite. Let's say there was another one, 2 as well, then let's say 0 comma 2, right? And then we will say that to take 0, even 2 as well is a prerequisite. Sorry about my handwriting, like this, right? So with that, this is kind of a dictionary where this is an integer, the key, and this will become your array, right? Like that. So once you form this kind of dictionary, then it's very easy to check whether there is a cycle or not. So basically go through all of the keys and, like for example, 1, and go to its all of its children, and for each children go to all of its children. And if there is any, like, you visit a node which has already been visited, that means you have found a cycle. Like let's say there was like over here, for 1 you get 0, and for 0 you get 1, and again for 1 you get 0. So you got 0 like twice in the same search. So you get your cycle. Okay, let's go to code now. Okay, over here. So how are we gonna create a dictionary? Let's do dict is equal to int, right? So int, an array of int, and we are saying that for array in prerequisites, right? That dictionary of 0 is equal to dict 0, and if there is nothing, then you will give a default of empty array plus an array of arr1. My bad, this is arr, array of 0, right? Okay, so we are saying for this array, for 0th element, as a key, the 1th element is one of the prerequisite, right? And this way you're gonna traverse all the arrays in the prerequisite. That will create your dictionary. Simple, right? Now, basically, we have to loop over all the courses and find out that there shouldn't be any course which is, which has a cycle, right? So for I in 0 number of courses, reminded me that maybe we don't have to go through all the courses, and maybe we can just go through all the keys, right? Because if there is no key exist in dictionary, that's like a leaf course and you don't have to check that. So actually, let's go this way and then I will optimize it later. So let's go 0 to number of courses from for I, and we're gonna check that. So basically check if cycle exists, right? And so to check the cycle exists, let's create another function. Cycle exists. What this gonna take? This number, right? And we will have to create a visited. Let's do this. Visited. So the idea is that the visited array is gonna, make the nodes true if you have visited it, and ultimately, if it's revisits a node, you're gonna find out. So we need a visited array, right, which is your bool, and also we're gonna need our dictionary. So dict, and this one, yeah, no, yeah. So we're gonna need our dictionary, which is right. Okay, and this should return bool. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna check for number. So if visited num, if you have already visited that, then you can return yes, cycle exists, right? Else mark visited num is equal to true. You just visited it. And then for that node, do the same for all its children. So how do you gonna find the children? You will use the dictionary. So for child, each child in this dictionary, num, and there may not be any child, so we'll just use default. Yeah. Okay, and we're gonna call this one. By the way, here I just realized we are changing this. By default, the parameters are constants. So let's make this a variable real quick. Okay, that way we're gonna make this a variable, or copy the value to a variable. Okay, so where visited is visited, change this, pass visited, and dict. Okay, so we are saying if cycle exists in that, then return true. If nothing, for nobody, nothing exists, no cycle exists, then ultimately you're gonna return false. Okay. Now, here, let's just copy this and do the same thing. If cycle exists, and here none is I, visited dictionary, then return false. You can't complete the course. Ultimately, return true. Okay, let's try and run it. Okay, over here, I think I did something silly. So here, not num, we have to check for the child. Okay, because we are going to the children of the. Okay, let's try this. Okay, accepted. Now let's try to submit it. All right, cool. Now you can see that this is like 5%. So probably it's very slow. And there is one little optimization, actually two, I think we can try out. The first one is that if we have already seen that a node does not have a cycle, we don't need to see it again. So if for like cycle exists for num, we ultimately are returning false, that means that node is good, right? So we can create like a global variable here, saying like where already checked. And let's do this. Repeating false count number of courses, right? So already checked, and let's pass this to our function. And this will be bool. And this will be, let's pass it by reference so we can change it inside this. Now, and before returning, we can say that that guy num has been checked, right? So we don't need to check that again. And over up the top, we can say that if num is true, then return false. There is no cycle. We have already checked it for, right? So return false. If it's already checked, it's good. Then we are going to return false. And okay. And this guy, we're going to pass it by reference. Let's see. Okay, so still better, right? And as I said earlier, like in the beginning, that maybe we don't need to iterate through every courses. If you don't, if there is a course which is not a key, that means it's a leaf and we don't have to check it. So maybe what we can do is here, let's see, dictionary. So for I in dot keys, right? This should work as it is. If not, then maybe I'll have to like array it. Let's try to run it first. Okay. Okay. Didn't gain enough, but yeah, whatever. I think it's a little optimal. Another thing I was talking about, that I'm only checking one state. So maybe you can check for two states. You know, like if it's false already, if it's already been checked, but it's a bad one, you don't have to check that again. So maybe using that, you can optimize it further. But anyway, I hope you get a decent idea on this problem, and I think you're gonna rock on this problem if it comes to your interview. Well, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like.